Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, radio stations across the country, honor to be with you as always. You can email us, freedom@charliekirk.com, and we are here in the Bitcoin.com studio. I am back fresh from Asia on Wednesday evening. Once we finished the program, I boarded a quite long flight from Los Angeles all the way to Seoul, South Korea. I was there to first speak at an event called Build Up Korea. I learned a lot while I was in Korea, and we're going to be talking about that throughout the program. We also have Vivek Ramaswamy and Senator Rick Scott joining us in just a minute. I learned a lot, and this event, Build Up Korea, was basically a America Fest, a AmFest carbon copy. It was so much, it learned that people really love Turning Point USA aesthetics. Look at that. That's not a Turning Point event. That's not Student Action Summit. That is Build Up Korea. And I was thrilled. I'd call it Korea Fest, but it was practically just America Fest. They love America, whether it be the pyrotechnics, the lights, the intro videos. It was basically exactly what we have proven to be successful at America Fest. They brought to Korea. It was really something to be able to meet with the South Korean patriots. Their country is totally under attack. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the hour. The ruling party is arresting pastors, going after political dissidents, and South Korea, which is an American protectorate, is quickly becoming a less and less free country. South Korea has a ton of problems. They have the worst birth rate in the world. They have the highest plastic surgery rate in the world, and those two things really should not be the same. If you think about it, if you have really high plastic surgery, shouldn't people want to also then be simultaneously be getting married and having children? That's something worth exploring. So we spent some time in South Korea, and I have a ton to share with that. Then I went to Tokyo and spoke with the Sanseito party, which is a populist nationalist party that is rising up in Japan, all about kicking foreigners out of Japan, because now there are over 3 million foreigners in Japan that are very quietly and secretly finding themselves into Japanese life. They want to erase, replace, and eradicate Japan by bringing in Indonesians, by bringing in Arabs, by bringing in Muslims. The same things that we have been fighting for here, whether it be lawfare in South Korea or mass migration in Japan, this is a worldwide phenomenon. But the thing that was the most striking, and it connects with the news today in America, the thing that is the most incredible is what happens when you walk outside of your hotel in South Korea. I got up quite early the next day. I mean, your body clock gets all messed up in trips like this. So the fact I slept 7 hours and woke up at 5:30 local is like an accomplishment. Usually, if you're coming from America, you wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and you're all messed up. So I woke up at 5:30 and I said, I'm going to go get a cup of tea and go explore the city. And I did, by myself. And it was amazing. As soon as you walk out of the hotel, there's no bums. There's no people asking you for money. They don't really put up with graffiti at all. This is the streets of Seoul, South Korea. And I walked 6 miles all throughout downtown Seoul, South Korea. And it's a pretty amazing thing, whether it be walking through public transportation, whether it be walking through public parks. Everything is clean, orderly. They take pride and responsibility over their public spaces. In fact, Blake and I, one evening, Blake said, Charlie, I have to show you the subway station. I said, the subway station? I said, Blake, is that safe? And Blake chuckled. He said, safe? The whole country is safe. I said, why is that? He said, well, they don't bring third world people and put up with 14 repeat career criminal offenders. Here's just one little taste. This is Blake and I in the subway station, not actually on the subway itself, in Seoul, South Korea. Play cut 284.
This is immaculate compared to what we're used to, right? This is unbelievable. Wait, so this is a subway? Like,
So if you're getting on the train, you go that way.
You're kidding me.
This card, and you would scan in with it. It's only about $1 every time you get on. Maybe $1.20.
all right, where are we going?
This way and we'll go out there.
Do they have restrooms down here?
They probably do, although I've never used
What are
one.
these things here?
Oh, this is a crane game. Like,
Is it all rigged?
yeah, something like that. It's all.
Oh, they do have restrooms.
Okay, yeah, great. So indoors now, sort of maybe $100. Convenience stores. Some of them are enormous.
The video goes on for quite some time. The amount of filth, crime, and violence that we put up is insane. I remember I asked someone at my hotel, like the doorman concierge, I said, hey, is it safe to be here in South Korea? And he didn't speak great English. He said, safe? Like, what do you mean safe? Are you worried about getting mugged or things getting stolen? He said, oh, no. Things are safe in your room. I was like, no, I got that. But like, walking the streets of Seoul, like, and I was trying to, of course, overcome the language barrier. Are you worried that if you're on a bus or a subway, something is going to happen to you? Like a car accident? No, like, are you worried that someone's going to come and do something? Do something? Like it was as if I was communicating not just a different language, but a different planetary reality. That someone would feel unsafe in a major city, like Seoul, South Korea. Now, we are a wealthier country than South Korea. We founded South Korea, which I will talk about later this hour, thanks to the heroism of General MacArthur. And now as I'm coming back from Asia and I'm looking what's happening in Washington, D.C., Chicago, and of course, the breaking news of this new footage we have of the stabbing murder of the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Iryna Zhuravska, a young white lady who was stabbed to death by a black criminal, by a complete stranger on a train in Charlotte. Now, you might have not seen this footage yet. This is becoming national news, and the left is doing everything they possibly can not to talk about it. The media is very uncomfortable about this story. If you watch this video, this guy was sitting minding his own, she was minding her own business. He was minding her own business. She was also dressed in like baggy clothes, comes up, takes out a knife, stabs her to death. 14 times he was previously arrested. 14 times. 14 times. He comes up and just stabs her to death. Situations like this are a nearly daily occurrence in our cities. And I'm coming back from two nations, Japan and South Korea, that are poorer than us, that are not as populous as us, and their cities are not just safer, they are different planetary realities. As if I went to Saturn and we live on Mars. We do not have to live this way. You can create a society and a culture where you can get on a train or a subway and not be Iryna Zhuravska and get stabbed to death in the neck because some black criminal decides, I'm just going to go do it. 14 times he was previously arrested. And all of the Koch brother-funded liberal criminal justice BS is the reason why guys like him are still on the streets. 14 times. Let's put this back up on screen. And Iryna Zhuravska, why did she come to America? She was fleeing violence in Ukraine. It turns out it's more dangerous on subways in Charlotte, North Carolina than a war zone in Ukraine. The Associated Press wrote 0 stories about this over the weekend. PBS, New York Times, NPR, Wall Street Journal, BBC, CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, MSNBC, 0 stories. Now they're finally fixing that, but the stories they're writing, like this repulsive headline from Axios this morning. The gruesome attack of the fatal knife attack in Iryna Zhuravska on a light car rail in Charlotte has MAGA influencers seeking to elevate the issue of violent urban crime. Oh, this is all about MAGA influencers now? Oh, it's not about the fact that a white Ukrainian refugee was murdered just because she was white. Everybody knows that, obviously. Stabbed to death. And by the way, the other sick part, which has now become the new urban way, everyone just kind of sat around and didn't administer first aid for 90 seconds. Just glued to their phones. We don't have to live this way. She survived a war but couldn't survive progressive criminal justice reform. We should be more like Seoul and Tokyo. We'll be right back.